Why am I voting for Bolsonaro? Hello, my name is Matos Domingos. I'm an English teacher and I'm also a YouTuber, and I show the most beautiful places in Brazil in my language, Portuguese, with the Brazilian YouTube channel Let's Bora Brazucas, and in English as well with the Brazilian Around the World. So why am I voting for Bolsonaro? Firstly, because I don't want to see you live in our country, just like I did at the beginning of the year 2000. It has been 22 years, and for me it was the hardest choice and the one that I needed the most. Because at the age of 21 years old, I could already see people looking for ways to live Brazil. I lived for 5 years in England, where I was able to experience and study the English language. I came back to Brazil in 2005 and I was still young and I could contribute with my country. I taught the English language to so many people who today are also English teachers and even private school owners here in Brazil. So my legacy is firmly planted and nothing and no one is going to tarnish my history. And at the last election in 2018, I didn't vote in the first round because I was in the United States. And I was defending the President Bolsonaro in American soil. And my American friends, as you can see in this video, Bolsonaro, lógico, Bolsonaro vai ganhar. É o cara, Bolsonaro é melhor. É o melhor. Para o Brasil é o Bolsonaro. But I came back on time to vote for Bolsonaro on the second round, and Bolsonaro was elected president of Brazil. I will talk a little bit about what can happen if the TSE, the Supreme Electoral Court, grants this election to Lula, because it is impossible for Bolsonaro to lose this election unless he is robbed at the electronic voting device, the electronic ballot box. Even though the Congress and the Senate have been elected in their conservative majority this year, if Lula wins this election, what we will see is the judicial fight ahead, remembering that the STF, the Supreme Federal Court, is still controlled by petistas. Their judge friends are the majority in the Supreme Court, and he will have 2 more judges to compose the court. The same thing that happened to Venezuela. That is, we're screwed. In our country, we will enter a communism never seen in Brazil. And what they had never achieved, this time, it will be in their hands. So, what country do we want for ourselves? Fortunately, I can leave Brazil and start over again in another country like other Brazilians, but the majority will be doomed to stay and suffer because of a vote that you cast for a thief, a former president who became prisoner, and he was imprisoned for almost 2 years, and where more than 6.2 billion reais returned by his accomplices. And today, this thief has the nerve to contradict himself in a podcast where he says he was not guilty. And the host said he was forcing it. He was lying. And he himself, Lula, says it was annulled. In other words, annulled means he's not innocent.
E fui absolvido pela Suprema Corte. Ou seja, não tem mais processo contra mim. Não tem mais processo.
Absolvido é forte, Lula.
Foi anulado.
He made promise to his people in the Northeast, which unfortunately the destiny of these people, so sweet and so humble, continues to be offended by the promise of an easy life. And he had 2 terms of 4 years each, totaling 8 years, and 1.5 term of his creature, the former President Dilma Rousseff, which makes almost 14 years of pure robbery and theft. This thief promises hope, and hope is a beautiful word. You promise and the people wait and wait, and that's it. And the people are slaves of hope. They embezzled money, kept the people hungry, and now comes, after so much robbery, and promises food, lots of food, the famous picanha, rump steak, and cervejinha, cold beer.
O povo tem que voltar a comer churrasquinho,
Candidato.
a comer uma picanha e tomar uma cervejinha.
I leave only one piece of advice to you, Lula. Take advantage that you are still strong and do like Robin Hood and go to the Northeast and distribute to the poor the money that you stole from Brazil. The billions that were stolen in your 14 years of government in Brazil could have exterminated the hunger in Brazil. And now we are again in this war between good and evil, between the good guy and the bad guy, between the president and a thief. So I ask you, if you are still in doubt about who to vote for, think about your family, think about your parents, think about your children and your grandchildren. So that's why I vote for Bolsonaro, because I can still express myself freely on social media. And if you are still in doubt, I ask you to vote for Bolsonaro. You may not like him, but in your vision, you'll understand Bolsonaro is a necessary evil. So give our president one more opportunity to continue to improve our country. God be with you. Many blessings in this very important election tomorrow that will keep our country on the path of growth and social equality. A big hug to you and vote 22 for Bolsonaro.